The night my mother locked the kitchen door from the inside, I realized fear could wear the face of love. The yellow bulb above the sink flickered like a dying heartbeat, and through the thin wooden door, I heard my friend's breath, shallow, confused, waiting. That was the moment something ancient and poisonous cracked open inside me, a truth I had avoided for years. My home was not a safe place for kindness. I am a Reba, and for most of my life my mother was my definition of strength. Widowed early, she raised me with iron rules and sharper words. She taught me discipline, survival, and silence. What she never taught me was compassion. I learned that from the outside world in fragments, on buses, in offices, in friendships that felt like oxygen. Sana entered my life during my first job at a private school. She was gentle in a way that felt rebellious, laughing softly, apologizing even when she wasn't wrong. We bonded over late salary payments, broken dreams, and the shared weight of being women in a city that demanded obedience before respect. She was my friend, but slowly she became something more. My mirror, my reminder of who I could be if I dared. When Sana lost her rented room after her landlord doubled the rent overnight, I didn't think twice. "Come stay with me," I said. "Just for a few weeks." I didn't ask my mother. That was my first mistake. The first week passed with polite smiles and cold dinners. My mother observed Sana like a judge watches a defendant. Quiet, calculating, already convinced of guilt. She commented on Sana's clothes, her laughter, the way she spoke on the phone. "Girls who talk too much bring trouble," she would mutter, loud enough to wound but soft enough to deny. Sana pretended not to notice, but I saw the way her shoulders tightened, the way she began to eat less, speak less, exist less. I confronted my mother one evening, my voice shaking. "She's my guest. You don't have to like her, but you can't humiliate her." My mother smiled then, a thin, dangerous smile. "This is my house," she said. "And I know what kind of girls ruin families." The tension thickened. Plates clanged louder. Doors closed harder. One night, I came home late from school to find Sana crying in the bathroom. Her eyes red, her hands trembling. She told me my mother had accused her of stealing money from her cupboard. No proof. Just accusation. Just venom. That was the night of the locked kitchen door. My mother had trapped Sana inside, demanding she confess to things she hadn't done. Her voice rising like a storm. I stood frozen outside, my heart pounding, my loyalty splitting me in half. Daughter. Friend. Coward. When I finally forced the door open, Sana looked at me. Not angry, not pleading, just disappointed. That look broke something permanent in me. The next morning, Sana packed her bag quietly. My mother didn't stop her. She didn't even look at her. As Sana stepped out, she turned back once, her eyes meeting mine. "Some homes teach you how to survive," she said softly. "Others teach you when to leave." The door closed behind her, and with it, my last illusion about my mother. But I didn't know then that this was only the beginning, that my silence had already set a fire I could no longer control. I read Sana's message again and again until the words blurred. "I know why she hates me." My chest tightened with questions I was suddenly afraid to ask. I typed back, "What do you mean?" But she didn't reply. That silence felt heavier than shouting. Days passed. My home returned to its usual rhythm, but nothing felt normal. My mother was calmer, almost satisfied, as if removing Sana had restored some sacred order. She cooked my favorite meals, asked about my job, even smiled more. The hypocrisy made my skin crawl. At school I struggled to focus. My salary was delayed again, my contract uncertain. The principal hinted that younger teachers were more flexible, a polite way of saying replaceable. My life felt like a hallway of closing doors, home suffocating, work unstable, friendships fragile. When Sana finally agreed to meet, it was at a small roadside cafe, the kind where tea tasted like dust and secrets. She looked thinner, older somehow, but her eyes were steady. "Brave. Your mother knows my family," she said without greeting. "Not personally. From the past." She told me her father's name. The cup slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor. My mother had never spoken of my father's early years, only that he was misled by bad people. Sanaa's father, I learned, had once been his closest friend, until a business dispute destroyed everything. Accusations, court cases, public humiliation. My father died of a heart attack before the truth ever surfaced. My mother always said your family blamed mine, Sanaa continued. I never connected the dots until your mother started looking at me like I was a crime. The realization hit me like a slow, cruel wave. Sanaa wasn't just a guest. She was a reminder. A living ghost of a past my mother had buried under bitterness and pride. Anger replaced guilt. Not just at my mother but at myself. I had brought Sanaa into a battlefield without warning her. I had watched her get hurt and called it respect. That evening I confronted my mother. For the first time I didn't lower my voice. You punished Sanaa for something that happened before she was born, I said. For something you never healed from. My mother's face hardened. You know nothing, she snapped. People like her destroy families. Or maybe, I replied, my voice breaking, we destroy ourselves. The argument exploded. Years of control, sacrifice, and emotional debt spilled into the room. She reminded me of everything she had done for me. I reminded her that love without empathy becomes cruelty. She slapped me. The sound echoed louder than any scream. We stared at each other. Two women bound by blood, divided by truth. In that moment, I knew staying would break me beyond repair. I moved out the next week, into a tiny shared apartment near my school. Life became harder but clearer. I worked extra shifts, tutored students at night, cried in the dark when loneliness crept in. Sanaa and I grew closer, not just as friends but as survivors of someone else's unresolved war. But peace never lasts long when wounds remain open. One evening, as I returned home exhausted, I found my mother waiting outside my apartment building. Her eyes were red, her posture unfamiliar, smaller. I need your help, she said. And for the first time in my life, I didn't know whether helping her would mean betraying myself again. The papers trembled in my mother's hands, not from age but from fear. Court documents, affidavits, old newspaper clippings, proof of a case that had never truly closed. The truth was heavier than any apology. I was wrong, she whispered. About Sanaa's family. About everything. Those words felt unreal. My mother had never admitted fault, not even to herself. She told me the truth then, sitting on the curb like a stranger. The case against Sanaa's father had been built on lies. My father had known. The stress had killed him before he could fix it. And my mother, broken, widowed, furious, had chosen hatred because it was easier than grief. I saw her and I saw him, she said. And I couldn't stop myself. Understanding didn't erase the damage, but it softened the sharpest edge of my anger. Still, forgiveness isn't automatic. It's a journey with conditions. You hurt her, I said. If you want peace, you need to face that. The meeting between my mother and Sanaa was quiet, raw, uncomfortable. No dramatic apologies. Just tears, confessions, and long silences. Sanaa listened, not obligated to forgive, but strong enough to hear. Life didn't magically improve after that. My job contract ended. I faced unemployment, rejection emails, financial panic. But something inside me had shifted. I was no longer living to please or survive. I was living to choose. I found work at a small NGO, helping women escape abusive homes. Every story felt familiar. Every face reflected pieces of my own journey. I used my voice, finally, not just for myself but for others. My relationship with my mother changed. Became honest, distant, cautious. Love without blind loyalty. Respect without fear. One evening, months later, I stood on my apartment balcony, watching the city lights flicker like possibilities. Sanaa stood beside me, smiling softly. You saved yourself, she said. I shook my head. I stopped abandoning myself. Below us the city hummed. Messy, loud, alive. And for the first time I felt the same.